My father married my stepsister's mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives in our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She's since made a full recovery though. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurriculars so that I could get a job, the money went towards her medical bills, and so that I could drive her to her appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly with the exception of having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that but was swiftly punished. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex, Ben, when I'm in junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah. He and I move in together when we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him screwing my sister. I broke it off, tears were shed, and he moved out. My sister apologized at first but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmoed me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house telling me how disappointed they are in me for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and since we spent a good chunk of time together when she was sick, that would mean that I would also have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter and they should understand my point of view, but they're adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm an asshole and selfish bitch. It also turns out that my sister's 4 months pregnant. This means they were screwing each other for longer than I even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience for their first grandchild. Am I the asshole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager?
Storytime about my toxic best friend group. So a little background information. I was 16, and it was the end of 9th grade going into summer break. And one day randomly these 3 girls added me on Snapchat and put me into a group chat. Now, I had seen them around school, but I never said hi to them. I was finding it very hard to make friends in 9th grade because everybody was so toxic. Anyways, like I said, they added me to a group chat, and all of them said hi to me. And usually I wouldn't respond to random people on Snapchat, but because I had seen them around school, I decided why not. And it was so random, they just started sending pictures of themselves into this group chat, and it low-key made me feel bad because I kind of hated my physical appearance. But anyways, they asked me if I wanted to be friends with them. Oh, and by the way, their names were Stacy, Savannah, and Emily. So of course I said yeah because it was hard for me to make friends. So fast forward, my birthday was coming up. So they asked me if we could hang out. They said they wanted to give me an early birthday present. So I said yes, of course. So like I said, they asked me if we could hang out to give me an early birthday present. So I said yeah. And Emily had a pool at her house, so they asked me if I wanted to go over there. And of course I said yeah, it was summertime and it was hot outside. Well, when I got there, they asked me to order the pizza and they said that I had to pay for it. So I said yeah, because they were my besties at the time. So I used some of my birthday money to pay for the pizza for all of us. And when I got back to Emily's house, they were all already in the pool. So I was kind of mad, 1, because they didn't go with me, and 2, they were just hanging out without me. So we're sitting there eating the pizza. And then after, all 3 of them get in the pool and they start taking pictures with each other, not even asking me to be in any pictures. So at that point, I was so annoyed. I was just like, you guys are being so rude. And Emily's like, what are you talking about? We didn't even do anything. And then, of course, Stacy and Savannah agreed. I was like, 1, you didn't even ask me to be in any pictures and you made me pay for the pizza for all of us. And she was like, you're ugly. We didn't want you in the pictures. So I threw the pizza away and went home.
Today's story time takes place when I was living in LA. It was 2017. It was a really good time of my life at the time. Nothing was really going wrong, which was rare. Usually something, some way or another, would happen and come mess my day up. But yeah, around this time, everything was going great. I really thought nothing could go wrong. And yeah, then something happened. Okay, so today's story time takes place, like I said, in 2017. It was the summer of 2017. It was July. And I was renting this house with a few good friends of mine out in LA, and it was a lot of fun. And this house was located on top of one of the Hollywood Hills. It was a really beautiful house, and I was renting it for a pretty short period of time. We were only going to be there for a couple more weeks. So yeah, I was trying to enjoy it as much as I could while I was there. And on this day, one of my friends was like, yo, can I invite some people over? Now, my friend would usually invite over pretty trustworthy, good people. So I was like, yeah, for sure, invite whoever you want over. Because I trusted his judgment and character. He would usually invite somebody over that was usually like pretty cool. And he invites these 2 people over. Let's just call one of them Zach, okay? Zach was a little bit on the crazy side. Like, I could immediately tell that he was very energetic, just very hyper, just all about partying and being as crazy as he can and just being entertaining, basically. So it wasn't a bad thing. It's not like I looked at that and was like, oh no, like this is a problem. He was still really cool, but yeah, he was just on the hyper side. So yeah, this all starts off as a normal night. Me, my friends, and these 2 people that my friend invited over, we're all just hanging out. Zach's like, yo, I'm starving. You guys want to go get food? And none of my friends were really hungry, but I was. And I was like, yeah, I am too. He goes, bet, let's go together. I'm like, all right, for sure. So me and and Zach leave the house. We get into his car, and he had a silver BMW. Now, I'm not sure what year the BMW was or how new or old it was, but all I know is that it went pretty fast. When we got on the road, he kind of started to speed, and I could tell right off the bat that this car could go pretty fast. It was kind of scaring me, because you put someone who's really hyper behind the wheel and likes to like talk really fast and move really fast, that can sometimes lead to somebody wanting to drive really fast and speed. And it's one thing if someone's going like 5 over the speed limit, but he was going like 20 to 30 over, and these are really windy roads down the Hollywood Hills, so I was kind of scared. I'm like, yo, if he takes losing control, and that's when I knew, I'm like, yo, I'm dead. I'm 110% dead. Like, this road was so narrow, and we were spinning out of control, and there's no fence whatsoever to protect us from falling. So while we're spinning out, like, just all these moments start flashing by in my head of like, damn it, like, I wish I never did this. I wish I never left the house with this dude. I wish I lived my life more. Like, I really thought that I was gone. Like, I straight up thought that we were about to spin off this hill and start barrel rolling down the hill, like, just to our doom. And of course, we keep spinning out, and finally, we stop, and the tires, the 2 back tires, go over the hill. Like, right as we stopped, the tires went over the hill. So the backside of our car, like the tires and the trunk area, was all hanging over the hill, just right by that pit of doom over the mountain. And then the other side of the car was on the road still, and there was enough weight in the front and enough of the car over to keep the car from tipping. So we just got so lucky. Like, we barely made it out of that okay. So after we take like a 5-second breather and think about what just happened, I'm like, yo, why would you drive like that? I was trying to warn you that you shouldn't drive like that because of this. And he was like, dude, I always do that. Like, I thought I had it. I just wanted to like impress you with my driving. And I'm like, dude, just don't drive like that and you'll be fine. So yeah, as we're talking, we get out of the car pretty much immediately because we didn't want to sit in that car because the backside was over the edge of this mountain. And we get on the road and we call for help, and a tow truck had to come and help get our car back over the hill. And yeah, overall, moral of the story is don't drive like he did, ever. Like, that could have ended so much worse than it did. We came so close to having an accident and falling off a hill where, based on the height of that mountain and like rolling down it, there probably would have been a very bad outcome for both of us. So yeah, after the car was back on the road, we went to that restaurant. He drove super safe. We got our food. We drove back. We told all of our friends the story. And yeah, it was just crazy. But in the end, me and this dude were fine. The people that were on the opposite side coming toward
The asshole for refusing to give up my seat on a flight due to a blind person who has a guide dog and is visiting their family member in the hospital due to the fact that I have a dog allergy. I won't be going into specifics since I'd rather avoid being identified. I have a severe dog allergy. I can have varying disease of severity when it comes to my reactions when I'm exposed to dogs. In short, being in a closed environment with a dog is simply out of the question. Earlier today, I was boarding my flight with my friends since we're all going on vacation together. As I'm boarding, I find that one of the passengers is boarding with a golden retriever with a guide dog vest on it. I wanted to make it clear that I'm not questioning whether this was a guide dog or not. This was also a very small plane since the flight would only take around an hour. As mentioned, I cannot be in a confined space with a dog. I told one of the flight attendants my concerns since I could have potentially ended up in a hospital if I had to fly with this dog. The flight attendant informed the woman with the dog, who goes into hysterics saying that she's visiting a sick family member and can't afford to miss her flight. I'm not sure how sick the family member in question was or is. The flight attendant asked if I'd be willing to miss the flight and catch the next one that would be leaving in 2 hours. I was offered a seat in first class if I was willing to do this. I said, unfortunately, I'm not going to do this. She is going to have to go on for my vacation. Due to the size of the plane, the dog would not be able to go in the hold. The woman started insulting my character, saying that I was being heartless for putting my vacation over her sick family member. I got on the plane and sat with my friends. As I did this, a woman in a nearby seat told me that she wanted to inform that I, quote unquote, am the biggest bitch that she's ever met. I didn't respond since I didn't want to cause a confrontation. My friends haven't really said that I'm in the wrong, but they do keep making very sarcastic jokes about the situation. So, am I the asshole for refusing to give up my seat on a flight due to a person who has a guide dog and is blind and going to visit their family member in the hospital due to the fact that I have a dog allergy?
Story of the time I accidentally made eye contact with a lady dropping a deuce in public. So there are these shopping plazas near me, and it's basically like two separate plazas, but they're connected by this small road. So me, my sister, and my friend were in the first plaza, and we decided that we wanted to go to the Chick-fil-A that's in the other plaza. Now, the way that this little road is set up, there's kind of like a giant hill. So when you're driving down the road, you could see like the top of the hill, which is also a parking lot behind a building. I hope that made sense. But anyway, we're going down the hill, and my sister's like, ah! And I was like, what? So she starts pointing at the hill, can't even get her words out. And I start driving mad slow because I wanted to see what she was pointing at. I make direct eye contact with this woman's full moon. She had her back facing us because she was trying to, release her toxins, off the hill. But her neck was doing a complete 360 because she was still looking directly at us, even with her back facing us. I just wanted to drop a disclaimer. This was not a homeless woman. She had her car and it was parked literally right next to where she was doing that. And not for nothing, she was wearing a nice outfit. She looked nice. Maybe not from the angle that I was looking at her, but listen, I think she might have been maybe lactose intolerant, accidentally put whole milk in her coffee instead of almond milk, and just really had to let it out, Shit happens. I hope she's okay.
Am I the asshole for leaving after my boyfriend made me sit in the kitchen by myself when his doctor friends came to visit? Hi, this is a minor conflict that me, 31 female, and my boyfriend, 33 male, had this week. We've been together for 9 months. He is a pediatrician and I have a job at an elementary school. He's sweet and makes me feel happy whenever we're together. He was missing me lately and been wanting me to visit him, and he was too busy, so I only got the chance to visit yesterday. We sat down in the living room in his apartment, and he was about to make some coffee when the door rang 13 minutes after I arrived. He went to take a look through the hole and then returned and asked me to get up and follow him to the kitchen. I asked why, but he didn't say. He had me enter the kitchen and said 2 of his friends who are his work colleagues, fellow doctors, came to visit and he wanted me to sit tight for a few minutes until they left. I was confused. I asked, why not just let me meet them? And he said, no, not like this, and asked me not to come out of the kitchen until they left and went to welcome them. I sat still waiting as the time passed. They stayed for an hour and I started calling Donnie, but he didn't answer me. I felt uncomfortable and couldn't wait anymore after I was ignored like that. I just took my purse and walked out the kitchen and told Donnie that I got bored of waiting for his friends to leave, then said I was leaving and walked through the door immediately feeling upset. He was stunned, and so were his friends. He called me later saying what I did was disrespectful and rude. He said he asked me this one favor and I didn't do it. I replied that I left because of the treatment I received. No matter how much he tells me to make myself at home, I was still a guest and I was made to feel like I was less than his doctor friends. But he swore it wasn't like that and that he considers himself lucky to have known me, but still said what I did was not cool, and leaving like that and saying what I said and